Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, classic, non-classics. This is episode number 2851, Doubleshot number 2745. Basically, these two trades discussing it from Pola, which, these are the last two discussing this one. These are finales. First up, we have the second and final trade, the collect issues from Ewing's run for Black Panther. This is Black Panther Ewing Volume 2, Reign at Dusk. This collect issues 6 through 10 of Black Panther Volume 9. And I say final trade because it is, and because it's also the final issues of the run. So issue 6 is basically history of one of the previous Black Panthers. A guy named King Mattel. He basically was like, this is his story for like 100 years prior to the events of the series, which is interesting. I do find this article interesting, and then we kind of feel a little history in the course with the Black Panther stuff. Yeah, of course, the serial killer trying to kill him. So then, of course, issue 7 continued the story. It's like the whole thing is basically delving into Black Panther's past. Like, not his personal past, but basically his Black Panthers. And yeah, then at the end of issue number 7, we have Monette show up here. Yes, the beautiful Monette from the X-Men comics. Yeah, and she is here because Black Panther has broken into her house. Yeah, and get this. This is during the whole Fall of X stuff. This is a loose tie-in to this whole thing. Yeah, because she's here. I do appreciate the fact that she appears in this book. I think it's interesting. Oh yeah, she briefly becomes Penance in this issue. Yes, she becomes Penance. Yeah, you know, the red thing who became Hollow later on. Yes, for some reason they decided to, I guess they gave her back this power despite the fact that she really isn't. Yeah, in case you're curious though, like, her appearance in this book is interesting to say the least. And I'm about to reveal the reason why for that, because she had just appeared in Uncanny Avengers. Yeah, so it's like, okay, so as soon as the book wraps up, they basically have her next appearance in this for 2 issues. Then she appears in the Resurrection, like basically other X books like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, Fall of House of X, Rise of Power, basically all the other X books. She recently appeared in the opening issue of Uncanny X-Men Volume 6. Which is interesting to say at least. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's like, oh, apparently her father, they were also looking for her father too, but he's not here. But she's only here just for this issue here, and then they move on. And then Shar-Ray appears in the book. Yes, Shar-Ray finally appears in the book. In the penultimate issue. On a screen. Yep. And of course, the story gets wrapped up by issue 10. Of course, we also have guest appearance by Regent and Mach-Bu. Which, of course, fun fact about this character. This guy is based upon the MCU version of Mach-Bu. Who's a little more nicer. He's from, basically the whole thing, the Intergalactic Empire, kind of like an alternate universe. His actually was his first appearance here in any books. Like, well, he also had previously appeared in the Wakanda miniseries. Which, by the way, that was released 2 years prior to this issue come out. Yes. They do kill the villains of the series. A nice little happy note. I mean, supposedly for someone who's supposed to be a exiled king, he's still in the country, but living in the town his father created, is named after his father. Which, interesting. They do bring up the Parliament here. Oh, in case you're curious though, where the heck did Black Panther go when the book wraps up? Well, he kind of returned to Avengers briefly, and then he was featured in Blood Hunt. Yeah, he came back to Avengers issue number 11, which I found that to be interesting. The fact he was still kind of part of the group. Yeah. As soon as the book wrapped up, he basically just continued to Avengers, issue missing Spider-Man, basically more voice Infinity comic. Basically, his next book he actually had was Black Panther Blood Hunt. And after that book wrapped up, his most recent appearance was actually in issue 17 of The Avengers. So he still appears. But this volume overall, in my personal, this actual book was a lot better than the previous volume. You want to know why? Okay. Number one, of course, no politics. That's completely expunged. There's a reference to politics, yes. It's all focused is one town. Though it does contradict the ending of the series, of the previous volume, with him supposedly being banished from the country. And then he ends up in a town on the northern part of the country. It's like he's exiled. It's more like he's exiled from the Golden City. Can't go back there, but can still be in this town. So, yeah, he has a Blood Hunt miniseries, which has not been collected in trade yet, but I'm looking forward to review it. But for me ongoing, this is the last one to release, which is surprising. I gotta admit, Ewing did a good job with this book. I did not think the book was terrible. It felt like a traditional Black Panther book. Oh, and also, one thing I gotta note this too. It's like, when you saw the opening issue of the book, issue 1, it might be a lot of Christopher Priest's run with the book. Yes, that's kind of what this... Now, yeah, I'm on my final thoughts of this book, but that's one thing that was really cool about this book is that the opening issue of the book reminds me of, like, the cover reminds me a lot of when Christopher Priest wrote the book. In case you're curious about the numbering for Legacy, it takes some issues 213, the first issue, and the final issue, issue 10, is 222. Now here's a question, though. Is the Black Panther Blood Hunt miniseries part of numbering? No. No, it's not. Okay, yes. Yeah, that's basically... Yeah, so when I get a chance to read that Blood Hunt book, I think that's probably the most recent book I reviewed for Black Panther. Now, do I think that do I think the reason the book got canceled probably because the book was promoted very much? Yeah, I think so. I think people were just not happy with the John Ridley run, and when they saw a new Black Panther book, I guess the people were not interested, despite the book is actually really good. But I'm going to give the book roughly 9 out of 10. I thought it was a really good book. I thought it was better than John Ridley's run. Though I do love the artwork for the covers. I love the covers of that book. Yeah, as well as the book Alex Ross did the covers for. Though I think currently he still does Immortal Thor. And Doctor Strange just ended, so he's not doing Doctor Strange anymore. So I think he just does Fantastic Four and Thor. Alright, next up we have another ending for a particular run. We have the final trade for Captain Britain MI13 Volume 3 Vampire State. This is collecting issues 10 to 15 and the series sole annual for the book. So what happens in this book? Well, we continue developing a relationship between Blade and Spitfire. And I'll get more to this later. They go to a bar, and then, of course, after Blade kisses Spitfire goodnight, she sees her dead son alive. Bearing blood. Yes. Her son. Yes, who is a vampire. Yeah, and get this. So, Dracula's in this book, and he's done in the style of the Gene Colan look for some reason. I'm not sure why. Despite the fact he had a completely different look at the time. So, but I guess that by the way, the book is written by Paul Cornell, art done by Leonard Kirk, who did the annual 2, with Mike Collins and Adrian Sharp. Now, let me show up basically. So, first issue opens up with Dracula on the moon with Doctor Doom. Now you're thinking, wow, what a very interesting opening. I gotta admit, that's actually a really cool opening. You know, as I can tell, this is basically based upon the Gene Colan look. When they show close up later on of the thing. So that's after the whole, and we of course we see, there's also, I thought this was really cool when Paul Cornell do this. So, Black Knight went to Wakanda. Or Black Panther stuff here. And meets up with Storm, who is the queen. Now those who are thinking, wait a minute, she's not queen anymore. This is before AVX, so don't worry about that. He get back to Emily Blade. They do reference in here the opening story arc of Black Panther Volume 4. And I gotta give a criticism to this, basically, of how they present this. There is no editor's note for this. You're like, what? Yes, believe it or not, this scene here is a follow-up from Black Panther Volume 4, which came out a couple years prior to this. And I'm glad of the fact they mentioned it. You know, I know it because I read it already. I reviewed it. This book, they present this like, oh, there was this Victorian Black Knight who invaded the country. And I guess if you didn't read Black Panther, you're like, when the heck did that happen? I'm sure readers probably were curious at the time. Wait, when did this happen? It happened Black Panther Volume 4, and who was in the critically acclaimed Who is Black Panther? If you didn't read it, that's where it happened in. So we gave out the Emily Blade. Plus, I love Storm's costume. I love her costume she had at this period of time. Yeah, she got that costume from the artist who did Chris Claremont's third and final run for the book. Oh, here's something interesting. A Black Knight's such a relationship with Excalibur. The female Excalibur, mind you, yes. Yeah. Here's kind of basically a bit of a close-up here. It's like the artist took inspiration from the Gene Colan look, but it's not carbon copy. So, Dracula's lawless nation, not the vampire nation, the lawless nation, is based on the moon. You're thinking, wait a minute. Can he breathe on the moon? It was mentioned publicly, I think they mentioned here. Vampires have no oxygen, so them being on the moon has nothing to do with it at all. Not really. There's stuff repeat wisdom. Oh, by the end of this, not only Blade is a couple in relation with Spitfire, but also that Black Knight's relationship with Excalibur. Two relationships that gets... I'll get to that. Don't worry. So Blade goes hunting. Yeah. And of course there's a meeting. Yeah, and also for some reason, like, Chapman, this guy is Union Jack. Wow, Paul Cornell basically does not give a damn about this character at all. He's been very arrogant. At one point, get this, Blade gets into a fist fight with him in a cabinet meeting. Yes, he beats up Union Jack. The Pete was not noticing something about Mayhew. He's like, Mr. Mayhew, isn't it? Junior officer responsible for WH Desk. Yes, is there a problem? No question. How are you enjoying those ultraviolet lights? And he's sweating. Yeah, it's if the guy is a vampire. Yep. And Dracula is brainwashed Spitfire. And and then this is really weird. So at the end of issue number 11, you have Kenneth Falsworth, this is basically Jacqueline's son, wearing normal clothes. And then the very next issue, he's in his Baron Blood outfit. You're like, what the heck happened here? So, Magic. You got transports to the moon. So yeah, at MI6 headquarters, let's basically start killing Forsaken vampires. Also, Blade is losing a lot of his hair and where it's like thin. It's still kind of Wesley Snipes look, but it's like the artist is kind of almost getting toward a look for Blade that I was not a fan of this look at all. For some strange reason, gnawing after this, Blade would sport the look that Sticky Fingers from the Blade TV show would sport. The bald head and no jacket. Yeah, that's Sticky Fingers for you. Or for a show that was implied to be set after the Blade movies, even though it really wasn't. Because it didn't feature frickin' Wesley Snipes. And of course, I do appreciate Paul Craig does remember the awesome Tomb of Dracula book mentioning Quincy Harker. So then, of course, Baron Blunt introduces his mom to the presents. Made up of Fictitious. That's the guy with the uniform. Captain Fate with the guy with the sword. And Lilith, the mother of demons from Midnight Suns comics. Yeah, reading this, like... Now, those of you who probably didn't read the Midnight Suns, but like, okay, so... People may kind of know who Baron Blood is because he's enemy Captain America, but... Somebody like, no, excuse me, Nick, who is Lilith? Mother of Demons, and she was created by, I think, Howard Mankey back in the 90s. And she has a weird interaction. Also, Spitfire's got blood on her lips. And of course, there's a ship because, we're building a military here. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Spitfire's got a smartwatch. Yep. And we have, how would you like taking sugar? This is so funny. Yeah, then we have, looks like, and basically they're here looking for the skull of Quincy Harker. Those of you curious, how did Quincy Harker die? Well, he had stakes built into his wheelchair to use to stab Dracula with and blew himself up. He died in the final issue of Tomb of Dracula Volume 1, issue 70. Which, by the way, amazing book. I still recommend people read it. It's pure awesomeness. So yeah, then of course the whole thing is about getting more battling vampires. Yeah. Yeah, and then this is the part where in the offices where Union Jack gets into a fist fight with Dracula. Not Dracula, with Union Jack with Blade. Yeah, and I find this quite hilarious. And there's a ship coming in. We have this guy here who says, "I'm sorry, Wisdom. I really get Philip player, but my hands are tight, International." Yeah, so basically, Pete Wisdom contact Norman Osborn. And then we get a cameo here by Scarlet Witch. And then the Mighty Avengers show up from Dan Slott's book. And then a British Airways plane collides with something. Probably the ship. And so then Spitfire comes down to the surface where she's like partial corpse. So she basically puts it back together. Yeah, and she's like a partial zombie, but she gets healed, don't worry. And then she gets her throat slit. Because, well, and Blade is nowhere to be seen near the woman he loves. Yeah, and Dracula proceeds to, get this, apparently took time to massacre the whole UK Parliament. Yes. He killed all of them. All the one they're going to replace, no problem. With probably people who are complete dicks. So he had his own ships made the planet. from the frickin' moon. And then Spitfire basically changes sides. Well, back to the good side, anyways. Yeah, Shikamaru thinks she's evil, but not really. Also, in the final issue of the book, also in the reveal in the penultimate issue that, well, Megan's alive. Yes. And she reunites with her husband by the final issue. And the whole annual basically kind of explains what she's been up to since that previous story. It's basically what this annual is. It just kind of explains what she's been up to, going various different places, running to Marmu. And play a cricket game, but talk about her romance with Brian over the years. And it comes to the final issue where at the battling of these people, ship explodes. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Baron Blood, he's killed by Blade. And I think it was Pete Wisdom's like, that was Jacqueline's son. You killed Jacqueline's son. And apparently, Jacqueline actually wanted Blade to murder her son. Because he's a vampire. And apparently the false words apparently are cursed by being vampires. Okay? Yeah, and also by the end of this book, where like Blade and Spitfire are a couple, along with Excalibur and Black Knight. Oh yeah, and Megan and Brian are back together. And that's a book. I do love the book itself, but yeah. So I'll talk about some relationships. Now, first was Brian and Megan, still a couple this very day. They have a daughter right now who is, well, Betsy's niece. Adorable little girl. First she was seen as a baby where she can talk really quickly. And when she first debuted, she debuted in X-Men Gold and #1, where Brian had invited Nightcrawler, Rachel Gray, and Kitty Pryde to become his daughter's godparents. All three of them. Okay. And they all accept, no problem. Yeah, I appreciate, though, the fact these two are still a couple. I do not appreciate, though, what happened to the other two couples. Blade and Spitfire, and Excalibur and Black Knight. Let's talk about basically first what happened to this group. Like, the question is what happened to the group. Well, MI13 still was kind of around even after the book wrapped up. They recently appeared in the Revolution one-shots, which is awesome. Yeah. So yeah, they're basically still active. Yeah, MI13 is kind of active. The thing with this book is, it's almost like MI13 was kind of like, this book anyways, was kind of like the new Excalibur. Yes. So after this book wrapped up, the team later popped up in Dipple Team Up, the Spitfire one-shot, some issues of Gambit, Wolverine, All New Invaders, Fantastic Four, the most recent one for Excalibur, the most recent appearance was Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings #3. And that was the group itself. Pete Wisdom, still around. Like, you might think, okay, what happened now? What happened to him once this book wrapped up? Well, after this book wrapped up, he, of course, also appeared in Gambit, X-Men Legacy, appeared also very characters in Tina Howard's Excalibur and Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain. That was the most recent book he appeared in, was that one book. Okay. Megan, of course, still occasionally appeared afterwards, having an adorable little girl. Yeah. She still appeared afterwards, yeah. Very frequently. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she still appeared. Submission Kenny X Force. basically very frequent appearances for her. She was still very much active, and her most recent appearance was in the final issue of Rise of the Powers of X. Captain Britain kind of the same thing. Spitfire. You know, the woman supposed to be dating Blade. Yeah, this relationship was completely forgotten about after the Spitfire one shot. Yep. It seems as though, like, okay, so did she next appear in the Spitfire one shot, which she guest starred her boyfriend Blade appear in the book too, which was nice. Appeared in Invaders Now miniseries because she's part of Invaders. All New Invaders. Some other books, not the All New Invaders. Appeared in the most recent volume for Invaders. Appeared in an issue of Marvel. An issue of Captain America. This was Captain America Volume 9. This was the Ty Nicholas run that she appeared in. In a flashback, but yeah, mostly put with just Invaders. But, oh, and by the way, her relationship with Blade, yeah, completely ignored. Yes, for some strange reason, I don't know why in the world. Okay, so they hook up these two, and then the relationship gets completely ignored by writers at Marvel. And like I said, for no reason. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting couple. Oh yeah, by the way, Blade, after of course appearing in the issue of Dr. Voodoo, he next appeared in the Cursed Mutant stuff with X-Men after appearing in Spitfire. And mostly puts his appearances were very sporadic. He even appeared as a great character in Mighty Avengers. Like throughout the entire run, appeared in Wolverine, Spirit of Vengeance. Guest issue of Brian McBenness's Defenders. Basically a supernatural, then he joined the Avengers, which I thought was a really smart move. And after he ended his tension with Avengers, also working with Strike Force as well. Like, he's been very active the last few years. Like, and then he got his own solo book, which the book got canceled. He got his own book for a debut of his own daughter. Yes. And yeah, Blade's got a daughter. And her mom is not Spitfire. Nope. Her mom is Sheffin Calder. Blade, an old girlfriend of Blade's from Tomb of Dracula. Yeah. Which she just recently returned for Dracula Blood Hunt. But yeah, Blade still very much active. I don't like the fact her relationship with Spitfire got ignored. Union Jack. The guy who's going to be a complete dick in this storyline. He basically was Invaders. Became part of the Union. Yes, the group known as the Union. He joined this. He became part of this group for some strange reason. His most recent book he appeared in was Union Jack the Ripper. Yeah, but at least he was so active. But what about the female star, Fusa Hosen? Her relationship with Black Knight got ignored. Yep, another relationship. Like, it was there for a while, and then I don't remember pop up again. Like, after this book wrapped up, she later appeared in Spitfire, Submission of Gambit, Wolverine, U.S. Avengers, reappearance, Betsy Bradcat to Britain. Another character who recently just appeared in that book there. Alistair Stewart, who I believe this guy was based upon the Brigadier from Doctor Who. Yeah, this is a guy who was specifically owned by Marvel. I appreciated that Paul Cornell featured in the book, but he last appeared in this issue of Markham Presents. Thinking, really? Yes, really. That was his next appearance. Yeah, it was basically a Nightcrawler story, Markham Presents. That was the next time he appeared. As for O, you know, the Q of the group, he later appeared a couple times. After this, he appeared in the issue of Deadpool Team Up and an issue of Wolverine, and that was it for him. Black Knight's still very much active, but some members are still very much active since then. But yeah, Blade came back, no problem. He's still very much still around. Baron Blood. Oh, he's still dead. Yeah, those are curious though. Did he ever get resurrected in our book? He did. He got brought back in Moon Knight City of the Dead. And Draco came back not long after this, no problem. Lilith herself, yeah, our main character, she will return after this. Yeah. Like, after this book wrapped up, she appeared in Ghost Rider again. A few times. Most recent appearance was in Midnight Sun's Blood Hunt. But Dracula, yeah, he returned not long after this. He returned no problem. But yeah, book I thoroughly enjoyed. I love this book. And, well, that's another book off the list, basically, review-wise. Yep. So, yeah, that's a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do another like button. Look at the time, right? I'm just going to go ahead and do Dead Summer Cards and Slime. Get that done with, and I'll do my next comic corner then. Okay? Next video. Bye.